The cellular outage that impacted tens of thousands of Americans Thursday will pale in comparison to a Chinese cyber attack, so says Florida Senator Marco Rubio. 100 times worse than Thursday morning, Senator Rubio says, with the impact on our power and water. He warned on social media, quote, "I don't know the cause of the AT&T outage, but I do know it will be 100 times worse when China launches a cyber attack on America on the eve of a Taiwan invasion. And it won't be just cell service they hit, it will be your power, your water, and your bank." Jen Easterly, director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, warned about China's hacking threats on Wednesday before the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party.
Now, the threat is not theoretical. Leveraging information from our government and industry partners, CISA teams have found and eradicated Chinese intrusions in multiple critical infrastructure sectors, including aviation, water, energy, transportation.
Of course, here at Victory News, we don't operate in fear. Earlier this month, FBI Director Christopher Wray warned that China's cyber attacks against the U.S. and its allies are reaching, quote, a fever pitch. And the 30-day delay Trump's legal team requested in New York's civil fraud fines was rejected by Manhattan Supreme Court Judge Arthur Engoron. The roughly $355 million in fines, including $100 million in interest, won by Democrat Attorney General Letitia James, legal warfare against Trump is due today. According to Just the News, Judge Engoron told a Trump attorney, quote, "You have failed to explain, much less justify, any basis for a stay. I am confident that the appellate division will protect your appellate rights." Engoron also banned Trump from serving as an officer or director in any New York firm for 3 years. Letitia James said she will seize Trump's real estate assets if he does not pay the fines. Trump attorney Alana Habba sent the Manhattan DA a very clear message.
We have a great team. I'm proud of our team, and we're working around the clock to figure out what strategically is the best move. One thing I can tell you is that her goal of tearing down the Trump organization, her goal of tearing down the individuals that work so hard, including on his campaign, his family, and the list goes on, her goal is frankly not going to succeed. That's all I'm willing to say.
The former president is expected to appeal within 30 days. Greg?
Well, former President Donald Trump spoke at the National Religious Broadcasters Annual Convention in Nashville, Tennessee last night. He shared some strong words with the faithful.
And, of course, a very special thanks to all of the inspiring people in the audience today, the broadcasters and communicators, the brave independent Christian journalists, and they are brave, the missionaries who go to the world's most dangerous places, and I don't know how you do it. You're among the bravest people in the world, and you do a job that nobody could do but you. And the pastors, podcasters, producers, and patriots whose ministry lifts up the spirits of tens of millions of Americans. You do an incredible thing for humanity.
The 45th and maybe the 47th president of the United States went on to talk about how our country is at an inflection point.
We're going to save this country. It will be thanks to the men and women like you, like the people in this audience, and we are represented by the best, the people who make God's work your work, God's work your work. That's what you do, and I want to thank you all. Incredible job. Thank you very much.
The candidate for the 2024 GOP nomination went on to offer this promise.
But no one will be touching the cross of Christ under the Trump administration. I swear to you, that will never happen. Never happen.
$141 million Americans enjoy religious broadcasting at least once per month, like you are right now. So let's hear from the Western Journal's Deputy Managing Editor, Josh Manning. Good to see you again, Josh.
Hey, Greg, how are you?
All right, let me ask you a question. What is it about Donald Trump that pulls such a large amount of evangelical voters and their support to this former president?
Well, I think evangelical voters have been concerned about the direction of the country for decades now, yet there has not really been a fighter since Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan, honestly, was a little bit more of a seducer than a coercer. He was able to bring people over through reasoned arguments and charm. Trump has reasoned arguments and is charming as well. But conservative Christian Americans have wanted somebody who would punch back. And of course, the left immediately says, oh, well, why don't they turn the other cheek? Well, personally, you should turn the other cheek. But we're talking about a war for the culture, for the country. We're talking about a war that, a cultural war that really means the future of the organized church and will you be able to worship openly? And so Christians have been extremely excited to see someone who would actually punch back hard. And then they have seen the left try to rob them of that person in 2020 and now in 2016, 2020, and now in 2024 again. So they're very frustrated.
Yeah, the thought is just be quiet and obey and stay in your churches. We'll leave you alone. All right, let's talk about this administration. They announced new sanctions against Russia in light of the death of political opponent Alexei Navalny. Reactions from many, like General Jack Keane, were bleak. Here it is.
It takes detailed work every single day to track exactly what companies are doing, what countries are doing, even though they committed to the sanctions. And this administration has had an open valve here in not being as effective as they should be.
Okay, based on the Biden track record alone, should we have any hope that the new sanctions will work any better against Russia?
No, sanctions have an iffy track record in general. They tend to hurt the people on the bottom, not the people on the top as much. If you want to try sanctions, fine. But we've also seen for the last 2 years that they don't work. Russia has enormous energy reserves, and if the West doesn't buy them, the Chinese and other parts of the country are more than happy to buy them. In fact, we've just said that we're not going to export LNG, liquid natural gas, to the third world. Well, I'll tell you who will gladly export that. That's Russia. Right. So the sanctions they've not worked except to give government officials in the U.S., party officials, a way to say, oh, we're hurting Russia, when in fact we actually aren't.
All right, I want to put your